We are obviously talking about discomfort versus pain today. And I think really understanding the difference between discomfort versus pain is really about finding the edges of growth, finding the edge of pain, finding the edge of discomfort and pushing through it, knowing when to back off, knowing when to push through. That's really finding your edges of growth. It's not just finding your edges of discomfort and pain, but it's really finding the edges of your growth zone, where the growth is going to be. It's like, oh, I know right here, here's the edge. If I push through this edge, this is where I'll grow. If I push through this edge, this is where I'm going to hurt myself. And then I'll actually set myself back. If you push through pain, you stunt yourself. If you push through discomfort, you grow. So first things first, what is pain? Pain is intense. Discomfort is not. Actual pain, the kind that we don't want to force ourselves through, forces you to change the way you move and behave. And pain gets worse if you try to push through it. It's a signal something is wrong. Whereas with discomfort, it can get better. You can grow. It can actually improve if you push through that discomfort. Pain feels forced, shooting, stabbing, and it asks you to back off and regroup. Pain should not be pushed through or ignored. It creates more mixed signals in the nervous system, telling your brain that your body and your intuition cannot be trusted. Your intuition, your gut feeling, that's in your body, not your brain. This is why we have to lower pain tolerance and also increase discomfort tolerance, because increasing discomfort tolerance raises your intuition. Increasing your discomfort tolerance tells your brain that your body can be trusted, that you can keep yourself safe, that you can stop being so scared, that you can do hard things, that you can do vulnerable things. That is the difference between the two. Discomfort means to be uncomfortable, physically, emotionally, or mentally. It can bring a sense of unease, annoyance, stress, nervousness, anxiousness, embarrassment, or grief. Discomfort can feel lingering, irritating, or aching. The sensation stays more in the background and it can kind of wave in and out. Okay. Again, it's a little nuance, right? Pain kind of says, whoa, 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 stop right there. Stop right there, regroup. Whereas discomfort tells us, you might want to change positions, might want to make an adjustment here. You have to shift some perspective. You need to tinker a little bit, tweak a little bit, try a little something, add a little bit of this, take out a little bit of that, maybe try it from this angle, try to look at it from here, try coming in from that place. So there's a tinkering, shifting, changing, adjusting aspect. You're still in motion, whereas pain says halt. And with that said, discomfort is not easy to recognize. It requires deep attunement, high self-awareness, daily practice, mindfulness, RR, and risk. Why do we need to know this difference? Knowing the difference between discomfort and pain is the key to growth versus suffering, injury, and self-sabotage. Many mistake discomfort for pain, which holds them back from experiencing life-changing breakthroughs, exponential growth, and radical transformation. Many mistake pain for discomfort, which leads to chronic pain and desensitization. This normalizes suffering and repeated cycles of self-sabotage. Let's talk about why we have such high pain tolerance. Pain is intense. It's a signal that something is wrong. It forces you to change the way that you move. It can feel forced. It can feel sharp, shooting, stabbing. It asks you to back off to regroup, and it should not be ignored. But a lot of times we feel pain and we keep on moving through it And the problem with that is that it will only create more mixed signals in the nervous system, basically telling your brain that your body, AKA your intuition, because your body and your intuition are one and the same, cannot be trusted. So let's talk about why we end up having such a high pain tolerance in the first place. And first things first, it's really simple. It comes down to programming. So that's where it begins. We've been taught that suffering and sacrifice is noble, virtuous, and it's the only way to truly deserving a good, abundant life. So without the pain and suffering, if you don't earn it, then you got lucky, then you're spoiled, then you're lazy. You didn't actually work for it. You don't actually deserve it. And so I know a lot of us have this baggage around earning things. And that's also why so many of us continue to increase our pain tolerance. Let's talk about why we have such low discomfort tolerance. Now, before we do that, let's go ahead and review real quickly what is discomfort. Discomfort is to be uncomfortable. A lot of times we mistake discomfort for pain because discomfort can feel lingering, it can feel irritating, it can feel aching. It stays in the background. And it tells you that something needs to change, that there needs to be a tweak, that you have to make an adjustment, that you have to tinker, you have to have a conversation, you have to shift perspective. And it isn't always easy to recognize. It requires deep attunement, high self-awareness, daily practice, mindfulness, RR, and risk. In order to recognize discomfort, this actually takes a lot of inner work. And when we are not doing that inner work, we bypass discomfort as pain. And when we are not doing the work, we bypass our pain as everything's fine. Why do we have such low discomfort tolerance? It's not your fault. We just weren't taught how to navigate discomfort, and we just weren't given tools. We were taught that feelings were bad, that we should stop crying, that we should stay quiet, just say yes, avoid conflict, just shut the up and do as you're told. We learn from our parents, teachers, adults who modeled for us. We learn to fight or flight. We learn to freeze, fawn, and jump in the triangle instead. Let's talk a little bit about the signs that you have low discomfort tolerance. You're always procrastinating. You're afraid of trying new things or executing new ideas. You feel bored or unexcited with your life. You smile when talking about sad things. You hold yourself back. You just kind of stick to the things that you know, and you play it safe, and you always stay under the radar. Life seems good, but you still don't feel fully happy, and you don't know why. You cannot express, name, or understand your feelings. You can't spend time alone. You always need to be busy, or you can't stay single. You have a hard time being straightforward, honest, or saying no. You lean towards doom and pessimism. You worry all the time. You hide a lot. Can't expose yourself. Can't talk about what's going on. You convince yourself that you're always fine. You convince yourself that you don't need a resolution. You convince yourself that you're over it. You cut people off often. You numb out. You overbook yourself busy and can't sit still. You rarely sit in silence. You always need music and sound and activity around you. You get mad because they got mad. Chronic rescuer, overworking. It's that addiction to stress, addiction to being needed, the drama. You think you're awkward. You overthink and make things a thing. And then you prefer pain over discomfort. Let's talk about how we then move through the discomfort and pain. First things first, once again, this is why we do the work. You have to know yourself and you have to know your stories, right? Because if you don't know your stories, you're just going to be going on autopilot and just continuing to go by your high pain tolerance, overriding your pain, and not facing your discomfort. So I'll give you an example. If you don't know that you have a story around, let's go to the apology thing. If I apologize, they're gonna think I'm weak. So let's say that this is a deep-seated story that we all carry. A lot of us carry this. You're taught whoever apologizes loses. You're admitting defeat. You're admitting that you're weak. If you know that this is one of your deep-seated narratives and deep-seated stories, that if I apologize, then that means I'm weak, then that means I lost, and that this person isn't going to respect me anymore. So we learn this, and then what happens? If we don't know that story, we just keep on operating from that place. But if we do know that we have this programming, we can catch it in its tracks and go, oh, no, 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 no. That's just my ego. That's just my programming. That's just what I learned from watching my dad. I don't need to go down that route. I know what's true. You know what's true? Apologizing is loving. Apologizing is accountability, high love, high integrity. It's the most compassionate thing that I can do for myself and others because I'm allowed to make mistakes. And if the other person can't accept it, then that is their resentment to carry, not mine. But I have cleaned my side of the street. And with that clear conscience, I will move forward. That's what doing the work does for you. So then you can move through that discomfort, stop holding on to the pain, and actually move through that discomfort and actually give the apology, and then it's over, and then we move on. Knowing the difference between pain and discomfort is a lifelong practice. You will find your limit by pushing it. You have to push against the edges of discomfort and pain to know. Breathing is key to connecting with feelings and sensation. Slow down and breathe. Because if you're not doing regular breathing and regular breath work, you're clenched. Okay? And if you're clenched, there is no space for you to feel what's actually going on. So then everything feels like discomfort, and then you're just overriding pain. You're desensitized to pain. You don't know when you're actually uncomfortable, right? You can't really tell what's what because you're not breathing through it. This is why yoga and foam rolling is actually really, really great for teaching us the edges of discomfort versus pain. Because breathing into a tight muscle literally helps us practice that sensation. So learn how to breathe into tight spaces. Learn how to breathe into it versus around it. It's all got to go somewhere. You can only do that for so long. You have to breathe into it. Releasing emotional and mental pain and discomfort, it's the same practice.